I'm gonna be going over the importance and just going through some of the fundamentals of how anticipation and reaction work together, and just going through how important they are. But first, I want to start with some textbook knowledge coming from the Animator's Survival Kit by Richard Williams. But we're gonna skip straight to where we need to be. See here, my man just clearly busting it down egregiously. But I wanted to look at this just a little bit before we get directly into today's topic, because I feel like it's also really important and also aligns with anticipation and reaction. This section in particular is about weight, which I will get more into in another video, but this segment right here I feel is really important. It says, so we try to find all the various possibilities to convey weight visually. Can we delay parts, go fast and slow, use up and down, break the joints, reverse the body arch, shift the weight, and select what we need to put over what we want, which I feel is really important, because a lot of the times, some of the misconceptions even I've made is thinking it's going to be pretty direct, like I'm going to imagine this thing, start doing it, and it's just going to be a straightforward process, when animation is organic and nothing about it is straightforward. And it's really not so much let's go and get this animation piece done. It's more so a thought process of, all right, let's start figuring out how this is going to work, and then you need to know the questions to ask yourself and just work through them. And then finally it says, and when we have all this stuff in our bloodstream, concentrate on personality, who's doing it and in what situation, which also is another extremely important thing that some people, including myself, can very easily just forget or completely neglect, because there's so many other things you're already juggling that considering someone else and their personality is really hard. That's why a lot of the times, if you have a scene that you really care about, I would recommend getting up, recording yourself, putting yourself in your character's shoes or whoever's doing it, try to think from their perspective, and then do the action the best you can. And I just feel like that helps I feel like it helps you focus down on a lot of concepts that you can end up missing out on if you just try to sit down and just do it purely from memory, which honestly, unless you're really fucking good at animating, you shouldn't be trying to just big dick it, big balls it like that. But now onto anticipation. Even with this shitty ass drawing, like, now it's drawn by a grandmaster, but let's be honest, this drawing is dog shit. It was meant to be dog shit to get the point across. And if you can't see what's going on, this is his head, his foot's up high, here's his hand, here's his other hand holding a ball, here's his other foot. You can tell what's going on without me saying anything. It's a baseball player getting ready to throw the ball. So we can already see how anticipation works with the brain. Even with something that's not super clear, your brain already has set up an expectation for what's about to happen. That's pretty much what anticipation is. It's an expectation. And we're gonna get into how to play with that more in a second, but first we're just gonna go down and read some more of what Richard Williams has to say, which is there are only three things in animation: anticipation, action, and reaction. These imply the rest. Learn to do these things and you can animate well. And then Charlie Chaplin said, tell them what you're doing, do it, and then tell them what you've done. Now, something about this that is also mentioned later in the book is that anticipation can a lot of the times be pretty predictable, and something to make your scenes and ideas more interesting is have an anticipation, but then what follows next is unpredictable. It's done a lot in Looney Tunes, like the original Bugs Bunny and like Roadrunner episodes. So, but I mean, obviously that's a huge exaggeration. It doesn't have to be exaggerated that much, but again, they're very good examples just to learn how to change expectations and I guess the reality of whatever you're animating. Now this section is talking about using big anticipations, and so for someone like me who normally does combat based or just very energy charge based looking things, the big anticipation for me is just gonna give it more power, and that's pretty much what it's for anyway, because there's different ways to do anticipation. It doesn't always have to be a big one to be a good one, but the more you use like a big slow, I mean, think of all the times you've seen like an anime scene where they kind of slow down a little bit as they're charging up before they release a big punch. That's a big anticipation. It just gives more weight and power to the way that they're about to move. So the anticipation is always in the opposite direction to where the main action is going. Any action is strengthened by being preceded by its opposite. And that's just a fundamental way to think about it, just a principle to understand, help your raw understanding of how anticipation works. Now this has nothing to do with the lesson, but look, I really like how he draws a lot of his shit, because like even here most of the time you see a drawing of people in these poses, there's some kind of lump for the chest or for the quad and the knee, but he conveys things really well and gives it power just with one straight fucking line, which is impressive and hilarious at the same time. Some of the examples here, a cartoon, same deal, except his action and reaction are that he's gone. There's literally just an anticipation, and that's it. That's all you need, or if you're going for something this cartoony. And then with less cartoony things, like someone getting up out of a chair, he's gonna rock back, down and forward, and then stand up. And then the pointing example, instead of just going straight forward to the point, which is very boring and weak, you prepare for his hand to go back first and then come forward. Same kind of thing with a walk here. So instead of just having someone stand here and then just start walking forward, you can prep it or build some anticipation by either moving his back foot back first and then forward, which honestly I think is weird as fuck. I don't know who the fuck walks like this, but you need to relearn how to walk. And then this way makes a lot more sense to me, where you open up your front foot to make room for your back foot so you can start going forward. This is just a different type of anticipation. That's not like moving back and then moving forward, but it's still a form of, okay, I'm about to, it's a signal that, okay, I'm about to walk, and it gives life and a thinking process to whatever figure or person you're animating. And I really like this hand example down here, because just imagine if you're animating a scene like this and the hand just comes down, it's gonna feel pretty robotic and dead. Now, if before it goes down, you're here, and the wrist comes up before gently coming down, that's gonna convey some type of thought before that person starts writing, versus just some robot putting down code, which would be without the anticipation. So I really like this example. And then this is a super exaggerated anticipation, but hypothetically, if you're animating a woman dancing, her hand pretty much moves in a figure eight. That's what all this is. So her hand moves in a figure eight motion before she just rested on her head. This is a very exaggerated, showy anticipation. There's another figure eight motion. He does a lot of figure eights with all his motions in this book, but huge anticipation to a magician doing a card trick. Another important part right here, as he finally gets more into the reaction, the reactionary pieces is, yes, he's going to charge up. This is the anticipation here. But when you show the reaction, if his jaw is here, when his fist hit, his jaw should not still be here. His jaw should be moved back for the first frame that shows impact. His jaw should be moved out of position from where it is originally. If not, that is not going to be a good reaction. And here it says, today we just show the result. There is no point of contact. We leave out the contact and show the hand past the hitting point equals 10 times the impact. Of course, that goes for what kind of scene you're trying to look for, but yes, obviously that's all true. And here's something I really don't remember reading the first time I read this book, but it said, Ken Harris told me this is what they did in old Western films. They would edit out the point of contact, those frames, just to show the result of the hit and put a big bang on it, which makes sense, but I a lot of the times forget how much editing goes in that, like live action. Like a lot of times we just forget that they also pay really close attention to frames. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where the anticipation can broadcast or it does broadcast what you're gonna do, but you don't always want it to be predictable. Switch it up. That's what this section is talking about. So it says that the anticipation is we prepare for the action, we broadcast what we're going to do. The only trouble with anticipations is that they can be corny. The audience goes, oh sure, I know, I see, now we're going to do this. Boring. So then the great thing is to do something different, a surprise, which can be very funny or shocking. Just don't do what's expected. So then here he just is going to go through some gag reactions or just unexpected reactions, like the balloon popping in his face, or him swallowing the balloon and then flying away. This piano guy falls over and starts playing with his feet, or whatever the fuck this is. not sure what the fuck this is, but or the piano falling apart, I guess. Now into invisible anticipations. It's really just a quick anticipation. So here, this example is just before he changes his expression to being a little bit more shocked, which apparently is the same expression just with a longer head. These are the two quick frames before this one. So it's not one that your brain really gets, like a charged up punch or a falling kick, but you still feel his reaction versus him just opening up his eyes. And this is, where's the name for this? I don't know what he calls it, but this one is, he does the direction that it's gonna go first, and then goes to the normal anticipation, which is going back. So what I mean by that is starts here, 2 quick frames to come forward, kind of like, I guess this is still the invisible anticipation. I guess it's not necessarily something different. So just like here, coming forward for 2 frames just really quick before he actually charges up, and then throws it. So here's the conclusion. Whenever possible, we try to find an anticipation before the action. Be simple, be direct, be clear. Which is honestly animation and art in general, but obviously still applies here. Be very simple, make a statement, and finish it simply. We anticipate the action, do it, and show we've done it. So now what I'm gonna do is go over some animation examples, and we're just gonna see how people are using it in the industry. So here we have One Punch Man. I'm gonna play the quick little scene really quickly. Actually, I'll go back. Okay, so that was really quick, but it does add a lot. This quick little chargeback. So instead of using the fist to show his fist being thrown, they actually use his face and shoulder. I mean, his fist is still in the shot, but the first thing you see coming back is his face. And then his fist comes in. So here's his anticipation right here, charging up. And then again, kind of using his face to show that he's moving forward. Then he comes forward, but he comes back. His face comes back to show that he's throwing his fist. So that's kind of, so that's that invisible anticipation right there. Yeah. Although it's used obviously differently. It's used for the whoever animated this, their purpose. They used it properly. So again, this charge up, going forward with his face, and then bringing his head back so you can feel, you don't see it, but you will feel him throwing his fist forward. My fucking computer will work. Hold on. Okay, so that's example 1. Example 2 is right here. So right here. Sorry, I paused it because I'm an idiot. Let me play it again. So there's a lot. There's a lot in this one, but this is the one I want to talk about the most because you don't really see this. You don't really see anything but her arms already busted through the wall. If this fucking thing will work, oh my god. Yeah. So this is all like, this is honestly all anticipation, except for the very end. So you see her burst through, anticipating it. It looks like she's about to hit her, but she kind of just brings her guns forward. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this one is because she kind of, there's just anticipation, and it tells so much just by doing anticipation. You know, I mean, this is just regular anticipation. There's nothing new for me to talk about here, but I just want to talk about this scene right here. So, as per the other scene, getting to the anticipation part, they just use as few frames as possible to get there while still making sense. So it's a really two drawings, two separate drawings before they start to get to this pose, which is where they're anticipating at. So you can see from here, holds her, and then very extremely close lines, extremely close easing, like insane patience on these fucking lines. Like they're so fucking close, it's insane. And then she dunks that bitch in the toilet. Dunks her in an arc, which I do want to make a video about arcs, because arcs is fucking everything. Not everything, but it's like it's a huge fundamental to go over. But yeah, so she dunks the bitch in the toilet, and that is the last example from someone else. Now I want to show you guys one that I made. So with this, I really just want to show that I just want to talk about how important just anticipation and reaction are. Kind of trying to prove that you don't necessarily need the impact frame or the frame where they hit as much. So there's that shitty little animation. Obviously, this is the anticipation. Here's the action, and then that is his prolonged reaction. And this reaction that he has also kind of translates into an anticipation. But yeah, you can always mix and mingle those. But I also did create a second version of this for you guys so that you can see the difference that having frames like this impact right here, having the actual frames where he hits, how much they're interchangeable, like per animation. Like if you do yours and you feel like you really need those to make to get that feeling across, to get that point across, of course use them. But sometimes, like in the case of this animation, or at least how I did the frames here, I feel like this one in its current state looks better without it. So here it is right here. Just pure anticipation and a reaction with nothing else in between. I mean, of course, there's still the action of his fist moving, but you don't actually see him get hit, but you can still feel it. So that's pretty much it. I really just wanted to get that point across, talk about the concept of anticipation and reaction, because again, it is pretty much animation itself is anticipation and reaction. That's also storytelling with the character acting. So I feel like it's a pretty big topic to go over. It's a big topic, but I feel like at the same time it just doesn't take that long to go over. So really quickly, I wanted to go over the main takeaways of why I made this video. And those would be, obviously, first, anticipation. Whenever possible, try to find an anticipation or the anticipations before you make the action. And anticipation is essentially preparing the character and the viewer for what's about to happen next, which also sets up an expectation. So anticipations are also expectations at the same time. Just remember that as you're looking for what you're about to do, so that you can mix it up a little. There are big anticipations, like the animation I showed you of mine, where there's a charged up punch and a very lengthy reaction to follow. It's also like the lady doing the figure eight, that's a very big anticipation. Not because it's slow, but because it's just the amount of time it takes for that anticipation, the drawings, how flamboyant and extra it is. There's the fact that there are big anticipations implies that there are also quick anticipations, which I didn't really go over too much because I didn't really see too much of a point. Like once I go over all the big and slow stuff, it's kind of just like you'll use the concepts, learn it from this, and then apply it to whatever you need. So I'll still show on the screen some animations of quicker anticipations, but I don't really think it needs to be gone over thoroughly after doing the slow version or big anticipate. I feel like big anticipations are not only a little bit more difficult to animate, but a better way to get the point across. We also talked about invisible anticipations, which we also kind of got a chance to look at with that One Punch Man animation. As he goes forward before he punches and then comes back again, which is not exactly what we talked about. The book version, the Richard Williams version of what it is, but it is nevertheless still an invisible anticipation that you're not gonna see, but you definitely feel to help throw his fist into the next scene, because him moving his head back like that helps him throw his fist forward, and what comes next is a bunch of fist throwing. So not exactly as it was shown in the book, but still used in a creative way, which I feel works even better for showing how broad these concepts really are, and not just like point blank. Just learning them so that you can really use them to your full advantage. And then next would obviously be the actual action. The next most important part being the reaction, which I do believe should be thought about, because even in my animation, it's nothing like crazy, but I did something slightly different than what normally happens when you get punched, right? So his neck just elongates and he uses his neck to throw himself back down. So it's a lot of neck action going on in there, but just use the reaction as a time to throw the viewer's expectation off, and it just will, the more you can do that without trying too hard, the better and more interesting things will turn out. If you guys have any topics that you would like me to focus on next, like if someone has made the comment and you see it, just like it so I know which one or which topic or concept or idea you guys want to talk about or learn the most right now. So yeah, leave it in the comments. But I hope you all enjoyed. If you guys want to see how this animation was made before all the frames are in here, let me know that too, because I do have the footage just in case anyone wanted to see the process, because I in that footage go over the keys and then how I do my timing, and I literally show everything that I did for this. So if you guys want to see some of that or all of it, let me know. And yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with anyone you think might find it interesting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.